And as you image the text, so you saw how just in that moment, I hadn't prepared that little riff on Lincoln with black bodies and Iraq and Afghanistan with black bodies. But that's the kind of stuff when you image the text and when your mind gets strong enough homiletically, that stuff will start coming down. So when preachers say to me, I don't know what to preach, well, I'm like, okay, you ain't imaged the text. I mean, it's very clear. Some of this isn't rocket science. Image it, jot it down, let your imagination run free. Number two, this is my language. Other homileticians use other language. Every sermon should have a gospel claim. What is the good news in this sermon? And in the words of my favorite apostle, Paul, who says in Philippians, this one thing I do. Write that at the top of your page. This one thing I do, forgetting that which I did last week, and not trying to preach 3 sermons in 1 week, this one thing I do, get one gospel claim and drive it all the way home. That's in conversation with the text, because the Better Business Bureau typically drives out of business people who advertise one thing and provide another. So if you advertise a text, preach the text. And stop all this concordance preaching like you got to run over 13 different scriptures, like your people going to follow you anyway. Take one text, the one on this lectionary, and dig deep. And stop trying to show the piety of the Bible says this, that, and the other. Ain't nobody following you. You're just up there trying to look holy, and everybody's lost. Preach one text and preach it well and preach it deep. Gospel claim. Gospel conduct next. Gospel conduct. What does the good news call us to do? Don't just be up at 10,000 feet and at the end of the day, people are like, Reverend, what are we supposed to do? There ought to be some action. If it's no more than going home and saying, I'm sorry and begging forgiveness of somebody you messed over. There ought to be something that it calls us to do. Gospel conduct. So 1, imaging the text, making connections with culture and worship. 2, gospel claim. What's the good news in this sermon? 3, gospel conduct. What does the good news call us to do? 4, sermon title. Work on your sermon titles. Make them creative. Today I'm going to preach God is love. Oh, okay. Thanks, Reverend. Work on your sermon title. It should be flashy enough to draw attention, short enough, but also to leave some intrigue about where you're going. 5th, deal with what I sometimes call the speed bumps. In every text, if you read this particular Isaiah passage that I've given you, in any biblical text, or at least most of them, there's a speed bump in the text. In other words, there's something that somebody in the congregation is going to say, you saying this about God, but I see a tension in the text about God, and your credibility is based on whether or not you deal with some honesty with some of these speed bumps in the text. So a lot of times we lack courage and go all around it instead of having courage and working through some of the tough aspects of the text. It takes courage to do it, but it makes for thick preaching. Speed bumps. Finally, learn and experiment with creative ways to celebrate in your sermon. Now, I don't have, like others in the guild of black preachers, that more excellent gift of a symphony in my throat. A lot of times I just got to holler at the end. But what I do have is a body that likes to get in on the action. And so fundamentally, you want to ask yourself, are there ways that I can drive this home, not just with my voice, do that too. So if I'm preaching something about watch night and the Spirit setting us free, my close might be something like, back to Reverend Sekou's point in this new stuff, I might say, I got to close this thing, but I need Mary to help me now come and shake the shackles off my feet. So, and then you move on. How can your body cast off the chain? What does that look like when I'm free? Shackles just came off my feet. I ain't going back home and let him beat on me anymore.
All right.
Shackles just came off my feet. I'm giving up on this addiction. I need to get some drug counseling. Shackles just came off my feet. No longer longer will I submit to the yoke of slavery. Take the shot. I mean, I don't have that more excellent gift, but I'm trying to show you the ways in which whatever your level of homiletic giftedness is, your body can get in on the action. And we give you images, we give you text, we give you suggestions, we give you descriptive details. It's all there. It's yours for the asking. And unlike some stuff going on in prosperity circles, you ain't got to sow $100 gift to get what's up there. It's free because the one whom the Son sets free.
Oh Lord.
Free indeed.
That's all the time I have. Is there one or two questions about how this can catapult your preaching and worship practices to whole new levels in the atmosphere?
We really don't. Dr. Penn has already come in.
Okay.
We need to clear out. Let's give Professor Braxton